3, 2, 1. Good day, everyone. Welcome to another episode of My Life Without Limits. Here's your co-host, Carlos Gonzalez, and I have the pleasure to have Leah with me, as I always do. The brain of the podcast, the lady that always brights people's day all the time when she's not giving you a hard time, right?
Especially when I walk into the office with pizza, right?
Especially when you walk into the office with pizza, that's even better. Welcome, Leah. How are you doing today?
Doing good. Last day of school for a lot of kids. So I think the commute into work and home should all be much easier for the next couple of months. Not so many cars on the road. And yeah, just looking forward to
That's awesome. And I hope you're gonna have a good summer. I think your daughter had also really good sporting events this past couple of weeks, and she did really well. Right? And congratulations to her and to all of you. And I know you guys are gonna have so much fun this summer. Hopefully.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So, well, thank you for being here. We have a wonderful guest that I would love for you to introduce, because I believe he approached us. He was mentioning that you and him were in connection a couple of years ago.
I asked him about 2 years ago to come on, but he was busy.
And now he's finally here. So please feel free to introduce him to our audience, and then we'll go for a wonderful conversation.
Good. I'm excited to have a longtime friend of Cerebral Palsy Alberta and fundraiser and all-around supporter, Lionel, here with us. And yes, I contacted him 2 years ago, and I said, you got to be on the podcast, but he was busy, school, work, all that kind of stuff. So here he is now. Welcome, Lionel.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here, and I'm really humbled and blessed.
Oh, we're happy to have you here. So why don't we start with you just telling us, who you are and what you do and all of that.
So my name is Lionel Migrino. I use he in pronouns. I'm a Filipinx in Calgary, living with cerebral palsy. I am a recent graduate working in HR right now, but I'm also a storyteller, and I love to tell stories about my community, whether or not it's the Filipinx community or the disability community in Calgary, actually all of Alberta, and yeah, I've been doing storytelling, and my main form of storytelling is taking photos. I'm a photographer, so outside my 9-to-5 HR job, I take photos, and I love taking photos.
You take beautiful photos. Like, I'm talking high-end, like beautiful, like that would be in magazines, and honestly, like beautiful photos.
That's awesome. Do you have a camera, Lionel? Like, do you have a professional camera, or how would you take your photos?
Yep, I got a few cameras. The recent camera I bought is a mirrorless camera, and photography is honestly a really expensive passion to get into, because cameras cost a lot and lenses cost a lot too.
For sure.
Yeah.
So Lionel, you mentioned earlier that you're very passionate about your community, include the Philippines community, and as well as the community in Calgary. Have you been in the Philippines any time? Like, have you been there since COVID or before COVID, or have you been only in Calgary? Were you born in the Philippines or were you
Yeah.
born here?
No, I was born in
You
Calgary,
were born in
and
Calgary.
sadly, I have never been to the Philippines, and I need to go. I need to
Mhm.
go to the Philippines. Like, I find that right now, like, before, like, me getting to where I'm at today, I feel like I would, like, oh, I cannot go because I need the money and I don't have the money. But
Yeah.
right now, I'm I'm a working professional, I'm living the bachelor life. But now, now with, like, oh, I don't have the time to go there, and we do have a lot of family there, so I need
Yeah.
a good 3 weeks to a month. But my family and I are planning to go soon within the next 2 years.
Oh,
So
Nice.
nice.
hopefully we can have a big family reunion.
Yeah.
That would
Yeah.
be
That would
awesome.
be so nice. You and Carlos are both bachelors. Bachelor life, you two.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to live in a bachelor place.
Oh yeah, no, people when they go to my house, when they go to my place, because I live alone in a single apartment, and
Mhm.
when they see and look at my friend, they're like, "Oh yeah, you're living the bachelor life." They can just tell by what is inside my brain.
And you've got amazing friends, don't you? Like I remember watching Twitch streams of you guys having big DJ dance parties to raise money for us for a
Fun.
challenge and everything. And I was like, you've got some really cool friends. Are they all from high school?
Yeah, well, one of them with my cousin, so
Mhm.
we know we said something first, but after from university, yeah,
Right.
I and I like and I just like really interactive with them, and they actually, I think the one of the moments that I approved them about, like, will they be interested to do the life without limit one? Because
Yeah.
I used to do it every year with
Mhm.
my mom and my sister, and then my my mom always asked, why don't you invite your friends? And then in 1 year I'm like, yeah, I should invite my friends.
Yeah.
They're all working. We all can donate a little bit of money. So I'm
Mhm.
like, why not? And then I approach a couple of my good friends from work and university, and they say like, yeah, let's do it. And then one of my friends and like, hey, I got an idea. Let's let's do a charity event and raise money to for the fund. And then we hold that event at Milk Sweet before it got shut down, and we raised over
Yeah.
$2,500
Wow,
for
that's
the first
great.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was amazing. And we got a lot of local support, but
Yeah.
local businesses, they donated some of the projects with us and some of the services to us. And yeah, it was a really successful event. And we even did it during COVID.
Yes.
Yeah,
You might have been the only group.
yeah,
No, there were a lot of people that did it, but it was hard. It's hard. Yeah.
it
Virtually.
was hard, and we were kind of hesitant of doing it, but I think like during COVID, we were like, let's just do it. Let's just do it. We came in with no expectation. We're like planning. We're like, okay, if we raise $500,
Mm-hmm.
that would be good enough.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
We
absolutely.
yeah, and we ended up raising $1,500,
That's awesome.
over $1,500, and
That's
I was
awesome.
like, wow! And we did like that DJ thing, and we also play a bunch of games like bingo and
Mm-hmm.
giving out prizes. And I remember like having to me and my friends to drive around to get the prizes and then to deliver it to people. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was so amazing.
That's awesome.
Aw.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. And for those people who do not know what My Life Without Limits is, the run, the walk, and the wheel that we used to have, it used to happen every fall around September, before COVID. We used to have a whole bunch of people coming for a walk, run, and wheel in Calgary and in Edmonton, one in each for each day. Usually happening Saturday in Calgary and then Sundays in Edmonton. Then during COVID, we had to do it online for a little bit.
Mhm.
I don't know if it was as successful as we thought it was going to be, but
It was hard.
but I mean, it was something that it was a huge fundraiser for the organization. We were very proud, and we're still very proud of that, of what all of our clients did during those wonderful times. And I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't know that Lionel was one of the teams that did it, but that's amazing. All the
Yes.
money that you raised, 2,500 the first year, and over 1,500 or so the during COVID time. That's something that a lot of people were not even able to do during the COVID time. So it's something to be definitely proud of, for sure. Lionel, I would like to go a little bit back from your story, because I would like to know a little bit more about your story, because you have cerebral palsy, and as we both know, cerebral palsy is a huge spectrum between each other. We're very different between you and I, and between different people, different not only in culture, well, kind of similar, because the Philippines and Mexico are pretty similar in culture, but we are very different, each person. And I wanted to know, you mentioned you went to university. First of all, did you took human resources in university, or what did you took human resource university?
Yeah, I took human resources in university, and I graduated from UL actually just a year ago. Yeah.
Just a year ago. Okay. So you just graduated a year ago from the U of L. And so in university, or during your high school years, or junior high, or even elementary, did you receive you had a lot of friends, you received some bullying, or some what can you tell us about that? Because and the reason why I ask is because some people with cerebral palsy receive hard times during school, and even without cerebral palsy, even invisible disabilities, have some challenges during schools. Do you have any challenges, or more, or you had more successful story during the time?
I have to say back in like to my formative years in like elementary to high school. I was blessed and privileged enough to grow up with the same group of people, because I feel like with them, like knowing knowing how to interact with someone with cerebral palsy, and being engaged with someone with a disability in your circle is kind of normalized in their view because all they saw me was like I'm just Lionel, get it like I grew up with him. He's like a funny, charming,
Mhm.
Yeah.
sometimes a troublemaker kind of kid. But yeah, I was in that bubble within like sometimes I don't even know that people were making fun of me
Mhm.
Mhm.
because they would go talk to them if somebody new doesn't understand.
Yeah.
They will go talk to them,
Mhm.
and I didn't even know about
Mhm.
that until my friend and my sister
Mhm.
told me later on in
Ah.
life. Yeah.
So they
Aw.
basically you had a really good group of circle friends that they stand up for you when they used to do that, and even people around you they used to stand up for you when they used to do those things, and you didn't even notice because they did that for you. That's
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And they and like I think when I turned 18 and got like into university and going into stepping out of my old bubble,
Mhm.
Mhm.
that's when I realized like that people like me are not made for this world because it was a really dehumanizing experience listening to people talking to you in a way that is patronizing and it's
Mhm.
like talking to you like you're a little kid or
Mhm.
like doesn't understand
Yeah.
or like talking or like looking at you in a way that you're like different
Mhm.
from everyone else and
Yeah.
that wasn't and I will listen tell you my story even like when like any other regular like young adult
Mhm.
we you know
Mhm.
Yeah.
especially at students we love to go out
Mhm.
socialize drink and
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
what I feel like at times when I go to a bar or to a club, I always get asked that if I'm on something, if
Mhm.
Ugh.
I'm
Mhm.
drunk,
Right.
or
Mhm.
if I'm drunk, and then it and I got friends signing up for me,
Mhm.
but it also with a question about are they asking me that because of my disability
Mhm.
or are they asking that because I'm of the color of my skin or
Right.
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
Right.
both because
Right.
you, you know and that intersecting identities of me really impact
Yeah.
how I interact with the world
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
really, really tell me to like really got me up to advocate not only for myself but for others within the disability community and up to intersecting identities
Mhm.
as
Wow.
well.
Yeah.
Very, very
Wow.
interesting what you're mentioning, because yeah, I don't get to think too much about that, but it's true. You know, sometimes we get to have two different worlds: the disability sector part of it, of our life, and
Mhm.
the identity part of our life, which is
Mhm.
you being having a little bit of a, you know, you're a Filipino, you have different color
Yeah.
skin. I have different
Mhm.
color skin. I'm a Mexican, even though I'm not, like, my skin looks white too, but it's different than the rest of the people, and it's two different, you know,
Mhm.
we are carrying two things that when people are looking at you, you're like, are they looking at me because of my color of skin,
Yeah.
or because of where I'm from, or is it because of my disability?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
it's a really interesting, it's a really interesting topic that you're bringing on, because yeah, I didn't look at it until you brought it up. I always looked at, when we go to bars, you mentioned the whole your example on bars. When you go to bars, you're always thinking about, you know, is a girl looking at me because I have a disability, or what is she thinking about me? And you know, and you're always thinking only about your disability, but it's true.
Yeah.
What if it's the other way around?
Yeah.
If it's also your skin color, or where are you
Yeah.
from, or how do you talk, or how do you stand? Those are things that is true, that you're bringing that up, and that's very interesting.
It's because you're handsome.
Uh,
And your guys' smiles, like they're just beautiful.
that's true.
Uh,
That's
Are
yeah.
beautiful. That's why they're looking.
Thank you.
Thank you, Leah. Our smiles do
Welcome.
stand out. Like,
They do.
look at Lionel's smile. It's like
Yeah.
very, very standing out. So
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. It's true.
You're all true. You're both of you are so kind.
Aw. I think when Lionel does come to Edmonton, you and Terry should take him out, because I feel like the
yeah,
three of you would
yeah,
be
we'll
like,
definitely, we'll
watch
definitely,
out.
yeah, we'll
Really?
definitely,
Watch out for
yeah,
friend
well,
Terry.
we will definitely. Terry's the guy that volunteers here with us. Just to give you a little bit of a input, Lionel. He volunteers here with us with the computability program, and we became really good friends. Him and I, outside of work. During work, we remain very professional, but outside of work, we stay. We kind of do a little bit of trouble. Not much trouble, but he has cerebral palsy too, and he's a really cool guy to hang out with, and uh, and be a part of it. And he's a really huge advocate of and listener to our podcast.
Yes,
He's
he
probably
is.
one of the biggest listeners to the podcast. So he probably will be listening to this
Yes,
show
he
Yeah.
for
will.
sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. We have to go out, go to go somewhere,
Yep.
and we can cut in line.
That's right. You can cut in
Cut
line.
in line. We that's the best part, when you can cut in line.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
going to Disney World in September. Do one of you want to come?
I'm, I'm always open. I'm always open. And yeah, my family, like we always have kid joke about going to Disneyland because my family just that when we were growing up, because I'm like, why? And then a part of me felt really bad. And then when I get older and recognize all the power and balances in society, I'm like, why not? I don't have a lot of privileges in my life compared
No,
to others.
of
So
course.
why not take advantage of it?
Yes.
You need
And
to
we
take.
talked about that, Carlos. You mentioned the other day, and I said, you said something and you went, hey, it's the one perk I have. I can't
Yeah,
remember what it was.
one advantage you need to do. Like, I think I was telling you that the passport situation. They saw
Right.
me and they put me all the way in front of the line, and I was like,
Right.
well, there has to be an advantage out of all the disadvantage we have. So at least we have to take advantage of something, right? Some people listen to me and they're like, oh, but you guys want to be normal and treated as normal, and now this situation happens, and I'm like, okay, do we get do we get the normal treatment the majority
Right.
of the time? I don't think we do,
Yeah.
law-wise, you know what I mean? So, I mean, I'm saying we should, but do we get the normal treatment from society? Most of the time we don't. So
Exactly.
we gotta take advantage of what we can. And sorry if this bothers someone, but or anyone who's listening, but and it's not for people to feel uncomfortable, but it's true. We gotta take advantage of
Mhm.
that. So I don't feel as bad anymore as
Mhm.
when I used to be like, oh well, no, I don't want to call in line in front of people. Like, you know, like
Right.
if they put me in front of it, I have to take advantage at some point.
That's
You
right.
know?
Yeah.
That's right.
No, I agree. And then it also like compared to like every venue, it's not accessible.
Nope.
It's not accessible.
Yeah.
Alberta don't have an accessibility act, and we should get one soon. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's not accessible. So the least that they can do is let people with disabilities cut your mind,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, we're still not gonna be satisfied, because we're still as we're still not taking full advantage of any experience out there, because it's an inaccessible experience, right?
Yeah.
And you just say it, Lionel. Leah repeats it all the time. She said, "This world is not made for you guys," and you
Mhm.
just say it, "This world is not made for us." So
Mhm.
hopefully one day this world could be made for us, and that's my dream and a half, because I have another
Mhm.
half a dream. But my dream and a half is to create this world, and I think most of the persons with disabilities, including yourself, Lionel, is to make this world more acceptable, and not only acceptable in educational ways, but also on the way people think, on the way people
Mhm.
behave
Yeah,
towards person with disabilities, and towards person with disabilities, whether they're born with it or whether they acquire it
Mhm.
after they're born with it, or whether you're a senior and unfortunately you acquired a
Mhm.
disability. This world has to be acceptable in the future, hopefully, or even
yeah,
sooner,
Yeah.
uh, for persons of all disabilities,
yeah,
including the races. It doesn't matter
Mhm.
what race you're from. Doesn't matter if you're a woman, if you're a man. It doesn't matter. Accept everyone the way it is. You know,
Mhm.
yeah,
that's the way I see it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. And I often tell people I'm tired as hell of it to accommodate people around
Yeah.
my disability. Like, why do I have to do that? Like,
Mhm.
why do I always have to take the initiative to accommodate for other people that are non-disabled around my
Mhm.
disability? Why can't they be more accessible to support my ability? I think people are that angry and tired of always being the ones being 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 responsible and accountable for always being accommodating. And
Mhm.
I really think that people see people with disabilities as an inconvenience instead of as a human being, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And hopefully through your storytelling, we can, help that change. So have you got some big plans for your
Oh
photography?
yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good question.
So yeah, so recently I got featured with Hiraya, a documentary that was produced by a grant called Cerebral, and it and that is directed by my good friend Gil Gilma Gilmarie and follow the directors, and yeah, the documentary is about 5 local Philippine artists in Calgary that come from many diverse disciplines
Mhm.
in art, and that all are also come from different intersectionality because
Awesome.
their identity. Like we got one feature artist that is a transgender advocate,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and we also have me, the handsome fellow with the disability, and yeah, and I was featured in an episode talking about like my photography and
Mhm.
my identity of being Filipino, and also be having a disability intersect with my artwork, and
Mhm.
now my and now I'm passionate about photography because photography have given me like a platform to have a voice,
Yeah.
and not a lot of people like you can understand, Carlos,
Mhm.
like not many opportunities are out there for us to have a voice. So I
Mhm.
feel like with photography and art, it gave me a voice to like give me an opportunity to show people like how I see the world,
That's awesome.
and not only that, it also give me an opportunity to really amplify other people's voices
Mhm.
as well feel that feel voiceless. So I
Mhm.
really like my photography about not only empowering my voice, but amplifying the voices of the voiceless.
Yes.
That's amazing,
Yeah.
Lionel. And it's true. Like, what you I would love to after this podcast. I would love to go and take a look at your website or Instagram because I I'm pretty sure all your I haven't had the chance to see it as Leah has, but I'm pretty
Uh,
sure all
Honestly, it's so
all,
like,
all your photography is
yeah,
mind
really
blowing.
good.
Uh, and uh, and I'll definitely what you just said. It just hit me right in my heart because it's true. That part of your life where you use photography to basically amplify people's voices and to basically express your voice because it's hard sometimes to express ourselves,
Mhm.
Yeah.
when it comes to having a disability or to have opportunities out there or to make opportunities. And the fact that you're creating your own opportunity by grabbing photography and using photography to express yourself and to amplify other people's voices, that's amazing because it doesn't
Yeah.
matter if your disability is physical or is visible or sometimes invisible. Some people, doesn't matter what they do, they can't really express themselves, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that you're using that photography to help others to amplify their voices and to be able to help them express themselves, that's just that's just fantastic to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely, definitely. And I feel like everyone of a story and every experience should be valued. Every lived experience should be valued. And I feel like people with disabilities, even though we're the largest marginalized group in the world,
Yeah.
we're still being underrepresented, we're
Yeah.
still being unjudged, we're still experiencing like youth poverty rates and youth
Mhm.
youth unemployment great compared to people that are non-disabled. So
Yeah,
there's a lot of work to be done.
a lot.
Thankfully, the Bill 20, I think it's Bill 22 just passed.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
and
Yep.
so that's gonna help for sure. That's gonna
Yeah.
help a lot.
And we've
So
been pushing hard for that accessibility legislation in Alberta. Like
and
it
and
needs to happen.
and thanks
yeah,
to all the persons like yourself, Lionel, and people who are out there who have disability, who are
Mhm.
expressing their voices for this bill to pass. Because other than that, if it wasn't for the largest marginalized community in the world, it would not, like, you know, in this case in Alberta, it would not have passed if it wasn't for those individuals who are speaking up
Mhm.
about having this new bill coming up. So thank you
Yeah.
to everyone as well.
Yeah.
yeah, no,
Really great.
definitely. And I feel like there's so there's so much work to be done. I feel like with even like with a lot of organization, like they safety back to safety, but I I will bet you that most companies don't have don't have accessibility in mind when they're looking at safety protocols. So, so what happens if somebody in a wheelchair
Mhm.
and there's a fire in the building? What will happen there? And it kind of mindful of
Yeah.
spoken to me that there's not a lot of consideration for accessibility when it comes to employers like or operations as well. I
Yeah.
think accessibility is just a great asset to have because it just create all that innovation and all that talent
Yeah.
of those untapped potential to get from your customer and just make the product or service at the end of the day reach their potential, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because you can create a better lifestyle for a person who is in a wheelchair, for example, to make it more accessible for them.
Mhm.
To even for example, a person who has a visual impediment or a visual
Yeah.
sometimes I need to learn how to use proper language still, but
Can't
a
even sometime.
visual disability in a case, we need to have those type of things of having the proper software on unemployment, and
Mhm.
for some organization or some employment is hard because they're like, okay, well, if I can find somebody who is not a or not has not disability and who is able to to do the same job that the person who has a disability, it's it's sometimes easier for the employer to hire that particular person. But at the end of the day, I will feel not I will feel discriminalized in a way because I'm like, that person can do the job if you have a proper accessible equipment or a proper accessible, you know, building, right?
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah.
coming, I'm not sure about the Philippines. I would love to go to the Philippines. I've never been either, but in Mexico, there are so many places. I used to do practicums on a building that did not have a proper elevator. So I have to go, I felt VIP because I had to go underneath where all the directors were
Oh,
to be
yeah.
able to access, you know, proper building the proper way to up. But they were kind enough to say, we want to hire someone who has a disability to give us the example of how to better create accessibility to the building so that in the
Mhm.
future, if there's somebody with a wheelchair, if there's somebody with a walker, we can create a proper building. And then inside you find out that there's still computers that need to be upgraded for persons who have visual impediments. There's
Mhm.
still, you know, so many
Yeah.
other things that they need to do, and same here in Canada, where it's sometimes easier when you look at you were talking about Lionel, about unemployment with persons with disabilities. When we look at unemployment, my question is it because of the capacity of the person, or is it because of the inaccessibility of the place of work or the place where it is, right? So those are the two things that if I was in government, which I'm glad I'm not at the moment, but if I was in government, I would be checking on that. I would be like, okay, how many companies have the accessibility to do this? And
Yeah.
how many companies, or for example, me and Lionel was saying that he likes to go to bars. I like to go to bar. The other day I was thinking, how many bars did we go? Have we seen a person with on a wheelchair carrying a tray with a whole bunch of drinks? None. Have you seen a waiter who has a disability in a bar? Have any one of you seen a waiter who has a disability?
No.
None, right? I would love to see that. I really would love to see that.
And there's ways. I know that there's ways to make it happen.
There's so many ways that you can make that happen. So many ways that you can make that happen.
Yeah.
So if there's somebody out there who's listening, please contact Lionel or myself or anyone or Leah.
Yeah.
And we will give you some ideas.
Yes.
Yeah. And honestly, that's what I've been telling people always. I've been telling people we live in 2023 where our technology have been so advanced and growing like in a fast way.
Yep.
Like our technology today is so different than technology last year, even like. But my question is, why is this belief so inaccessible? So like we got the resources, we got the technology. It's just a matter of fact, are people gonna care?
Yeah.
That is what matters. Do people care about making it accessible for people like me, for people like Carlos, for other people with disabilities? Or are they gonna stick in their own ways and do like what they've been making money for so long?
Yeah. They'll change it when they need it. Like that's the thing. A lot of people, they'll be like, they'll change it when they slip on the sidewalk and hurt their back. Like people need to remember, like we always say, that you're temporarily able-bodied. So
So they're not proactive.
Change?
They're just waiting for things to happen. They're not proactive. Being proactive is doing it now. Before you break your back, as you're saying. Or before you become you acquire the disability, right? So you're just standing there waiting for things to happen. So then, but I think personally what the Lionel is saying, just to summarize a little bit, and from my own thinking, is we have to change the culture. We have to change the culture of people thinking about everyone, including persons with disabilities, not only persons with disabilities. A lot of people are saying persons with disabilities, they can speak, they can make the group. I can grab Lionel, I can grab Brad, I can grab Aleem, I can grab myself, and let's pick it up to, but we need everybody else. We need cultural change, and that's what it needs to change from culture wise and from the government to the top, because the government is just waiting, as you're saying, Leah, until one, knock on wood, until one premier falls, breaks their leg, and becomes and has this and acquires a disability. Then that's when the premier is going to say, "Oh, by the way, by the way, no, like really, no, like no, you don't have to do that." But it's true what Leah's saying. They're probably gonna wait until something happens.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Well, no, it's just funny to me because, like, with policy changes, and because people will say, and I think even this about accessibility is too complicated, it's too hard, but
Mhm.
I've even like with our own government, they're gonna be saying, oh, it's too complicated, we need time, but we see what happened in November, right? So I'm like, okay, if we
Yeah.
can pass a simple accessibility bill and we enact a different bill that is controversial, that just makes me feel like I don't matter in this
Mhm.
profit. I don't I'm nobody in this profit. I'm not even a human. I'm just an inconvenience in this profit. So
Right.
yeah, I got no that that all I'm gonna say. I got no faith in our government.
Well, I look forward to seeing this. Is that TV, that episode that you're on, is it all out yet, or are you waiting for it to
It,
come out?
so it's going to be out this summer
Okay.
on Dallas Optic TV
Oh,
channel
cool.
9. Yep, I will send you all the link once I
Please.
get it.
Please do.
But yeah, I also wanna talk to you about exciting news. I can finally announce it because we got received news that my the creators I've been working on this story with in
Mhm.
the last 6 months during the filming of Hiraya, we got granted a 20,000 grant from Kelly. Sorry, I sent an anniversary and we're going to talk about my story a little bit more and
Oh,
focus on my advocacy work
Mhm.
and
awesome.
focusing on disability more. So
Mhm.
we're gonna have his story and that share stories about other people with disabilities. That's why I'm hoping to go to Edmonton soon
Mhm.
to talk to you, Carlos,
Absolutely.
and I also want to talk to a really cool person in Edmonton too. She's really talented and she's in a wheelchair, so I'm going to reach out to her. But yeah, it's gonna be a year-long project and
Oh,
gonna
wow.
be released in 2025.
Oh,
Wow, that's
congratulations.
exciting, Lionel.
Yeah,
That's
Yay.
very, very
yeah,
exciting.
Look
And
at that.
I'm looking forward to seeing that for sure
yeah, yeah.
once it's released in 2025 for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it. That's why I was dying to announce it during like my all like Ovaya documentary screening for the
Mhm.
all Filipino community, but I was told not to jump the gun because we didn't get the approval for the grant yet,
Oh, right.
but now we got officially got approval and now we're in the works of making it happen and showcasing and trying to normalize the life of people with disabilities and
Mhm.
showing the diversity of people with disabilities because people often will think about the disability community as one and the same, but we're all different by our identity, by
Mhm.
our gender, by our sex, and also like by our ability that well even cerebral palsy is really diverse. Like
Mhm.
me and Carlos, even though we both have cerebral palsy, we have different abilities that
Yeah.
Yeah.
well still so people cannot assume that if you have a disability or if you have cerebral palsy, you're that one in the same. It's different for everyone.
Yes.
Mhm.
That's
Absolutely.
important. Yeah. You're going to
Absolutely.
do great things. That's
You're
awesome, Lionel. That's very exciting.
you will do great things, Lionel. I agree with Leah.
Yeah.
Leah, you have one question that we always ask at
Yes.
the end of
Yes,
the
I do.
episode, our theme
I
episode.
do. I
So
have a feeling I know what the answer is. But what does living life without limits mean to you? And do you feel you live your life without limits?
I think living life without limit into me means that you're living life with limitless potential, with limitless opportunities. I can't say that I am living life without limit because of the systemic barrier I face with
Mhm.
society, especially with people attitude,
Yeah.
and that is the hard reality that
Yeah.
we cannot live a fully we can't live fully life without limit, without addressing and dismantling of this word was guilt. And
Mhm.
I feel like we need to address that. And as you can say, like, I often tell people we need to learn, we need to unlearn, and then we need
Right.
to relearn
Yes.
how to
absolutely.
interact with and how to interact and to work with each other. And people say, well, it's really hard to do. I don't get that. I don't get that equity, diversity, inclusion, accessibility stuff. And people usually get intimidated by
Mhm.
the language because it can be intimidating for them when talking about like diversity and
Mhm.
colonization and
Yes.
like talking about white supremacy and all that,
Yeah.
and it can be a little bit intimidating. So I try to come up with easier terms and
Mhm.
the two terms, the two the three words I usually actually the two words I usually say to simplify everything. Just don't be an asshole. It's, it's so simple. It's really simple. It's honestly really simple. It's people have a hard time grab, like gravitating to the language and
Mhm.
not really understanding. I put it in simple terms for you. That don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
That be kind to one another.
Kind
Yeah.
Be lead with your art. Be open minded and open your eyes and see what injustice is out there for people that are marginalized. And that is easier said than done.
Maybe that's what I'll call this episode. Don't be an asshole with Lionel Migrino.
Exactly. And I said that to every, and I said that to like every facilitation, every talk I go to, because people ask me what is the best advice. I think that is the best advice. It's easy to understand and it's easy to practice because, and what I mean by not being an asshole, like I mean like I know like everyone will make a mistake. We will all make a mistake, like get a language wrong or like behave in a behave that or make a behavior that offend someone or someone feeling with. I feel like we were taught to act that way because of how the word is. But being an asshole, not being an asshole, it's all about like learning that you did something wrong and not trying your best and making that effort not to do it again. If you're an asshole, you ignore it and keep doing it and doing it. And that's an asshole to you.
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, thank you, Lionel. Thank you
I love that.
for that wonderful explanation, that wonderful answer. I love that word. Don't be an asshole. Well, the context you put it on, I love the context you put it on. That's what I love, and I think a lot of people will definitely take so much out of this conversation that we had today, and thank you so much for being a part of the show. Thank you for all your expertise. Continue to do all the wonderful things you're doing with the photography, with the advocacy, with all that comes up your way in the future. We are very much looking forward to whatever comes from you and to you. And please make sure you stay in touch with myself and Leah and all of our audiences. We'll make sure that Leah puts, I'm pretty sure Leah will be putting all your description information on our episodes. So if people want to reach out to you, people can connect with you for sure. And people should really look into Lionel's photography because if he speaks up through that, you'll be able to see what he's showing up and what he's feeling emotionally and expressing out to not only from himself but from a lot of other people that do not have the voice. But thank you so much to everyone. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please make sure to connect with me and myself and Leah if you want to be a part of My Life with All Limits podcast. We do not bite. We're very fun and we're very accommodating. Thank you so much. Leah, thank you so much for bringing up Lionel into
glad we found the time.
Our show. And Lionel, nice to finally meet you, and thanks. And hopefully, when you come to Edmonton, not hopefully, when you come to Edmonton, our doors are very open, and I would love to meet you for sure. And for sure, and to hang out and to have more another wonderful conversation for sure.
Thank you for having me, everyone, and I hope you all have a beautiful day.
Thank you. So we'll have you back when all this stuff comes out and all these shows and whatever. We'll have you back to talk about it.
For sure.
For
sure. And for all of you, remember that to continue to live your life without limits. Have yourself a wonderful day, and thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.